to a show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Mats podcast. Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. If you're listening to it on Monday, if you're listening to it any other day, whatever, happy day. So our guest today is actually another Instagram mutual, and I've actually gone to their gym and got thrashed by everyone there. It was fun, but I've actually been meaning to have this person on the podcast for a while. It's just every time I remember to speak to them, it's like I get, sidetracked with something else. And then it's like, okay, let me reach out to them. And then I'll think like, okay, I got it now. But this time I finally got them. It's like, we got this under control. I reached out. She said, yes. I was like, yes. So here we are. So my guess for this episode is number one ranking Grappling Industries at Purple Belt. I'd like to welcome to the show, Miss Rochelle. Hello, Rochelle. Thank you for doing this. And how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me. This is a new experience for me, so I'm excited and nervous.
You'll be fine. I always tell people the first 5 to 10 minutes is pretty every time I record, I'm nervous for those first 10 minutes. Once we get about that 11-minute mark, we start rolling, we're talking and da-da-da. You forget you're recording. Sometimes people say some shit where it's like, oh, can we get that out?
Yeah.
And it's all, I always can. I always do. But hey, it's cool. You'll be all right. I don't ask questions that are like Wendy Williams type intrusive questions, like, that try to get people frustrated. I want everybody, when they come on here, I want them to be happy. I want people to have a good time. I want people to say, you know what, I'll do that show again. I feel like you go on Wendy Williams, like, she asks fucked up questions. I'm not going back to her again. So
Yeah.
and I think that's her goal anyway. She doesn't like people and they don't like her. But either way, I'm glad that you're able to do this. And I know back when I came out there to visit you all at Sharkpit, like the last location, I know you all moved to a new location.
Mm-hmm.
My initial ideal was I wanted to come out there, roll with you all at open mats, and then record if possible. But I'm just not coordinated like that. So I was just like, I'm just going to go to open mat. And then I thought about when you are opening a new location, I was like, okay, there's an opportunity there. And then my work schedule got goofy, and then I ended up changing jobs. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just go do the podcast. You don't have to go out there and roll. Like I'd still like to come back out there and roll with you guys at open mat and show you guys I'm not trash. Okay, I was just having a bad day. It was a long drive, and
yeah, it is a long drive. It's okay. You do have to come out and see our new spot, though. It's beautiful. It's way bigger. It's not just a room in a sportsplex building. It's a whole spot. We got a lot of room. It's very nice.
Well, there's a charm to the little room inside the gym, though. There's just this feel to it where it's like we are connected. We're coming up together in this, and then when you get to the bigger locations, like we built this. This is us. So, but I definitely want to come out to the new location for sure, and maybe sooner rather than later. But for you, one of the things I wanted to kind of just talk about and learn is about your jiu-jitsu journey. For starters, what drew you to Brazilian jiu-jitsu in the first place?
So I was actually the last person in my family to start training. My husband trained first, and he's been into martial arts most of his life. He did Taekwondo growing up. His dad was a Marine and studied all sorts of martial arts. So my husband got into jiu-jitsu probably like 8 or 9 years ago at least, and was actually training in a basement with his friend who was a purple belt. And so he would just go over there. They would train. Occasionally someone else would come and train with them, but for the most part it was my husband kind of getting beat up by the same purple belt over and over and over again. And then I finally got him a gym membership, so he could train with more people. And then our kids both started training. My son and my daughter both started training, and I would go and I would watch. I had gone once into the basement that he was training in, but I was terrified of forward rolls for some reason. That was not something I ever wanted to do, and of course we had to do them. And I ended up, like, I don't know, rolling weird and hurting myself, and I was not happy, and I didn't want to go back. But eventually, after he was training and watching him and my kids train, I decided, okay, I would give this a try. And I made my husband show me stuff in our basement because I didn't want to walk in day one. You know, I think a lot of people don't like feeling like they don't know anything when they're walking into a room full of people. I'm definitely one of those people. So he showed me stuff in our basement with his sister too. So the three of us were kind of rolling in our basement. No gi to start. I don't think I put a gi on until the day before my first actual class. So it was really mostly no gi in the basement, and then probably once or twice a week for a couple months we would do that, and then I finally got up the nerve to go to an actual gym, and it was fun and way less awkward than I thought it would be. And I've loved it ever since. That was almost 6 years ago. So yeah, and now I'm at the gym more than most people. You know, I'm there usually every day, maybe one day not, but sometimes multiple times a day.
I
Yep, and here we
mean,
are.
there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you love what you're doing, you do it more and more.
Hmm.
You know, nobody says like, man, you know, I love running, but I only do it once a year. It's like, sound like you love it. Like, but uh, it's crazy the whole forward roll thing because I know a few people who are hesitant to do forward rolls, and it's just like I don't know, like can't relate, don't understand it. But I've seen like so when you said, I was like, oh wow, that's not just like I know two others
Hmm.
that like I thought it was just them and they're fucking with us. It's like
Nope. It's
no,
something
there are
like I'll
other
take
people.
backward rolls over forward rolls any day. I mean, now I'm fine, but I don't know. Like, I've never liked just falling towards the ground face first, even if it's slow and not from very far up. I mean, I still don't like getting like balloon swept or, like fireman's carries. I hate fireman carry takedowns, like anything like that where like I am going towards the ground. I hate it. So I don't know. It's just some weird ingrained fear I have. And of course, same thing happened when I finally decided to come in for a class. I told my husband, I'm like, I still don't want to do forward rolls. I'm like, I hate forward rolls. And he's like, oh, we never do those. Don't worry, we never do those. And then my first class, that was one of the warm ups, was forward rolling down the mat. And he's like, I swear we never do these. But, it worked out. I was all right.
Our Saturday class, part of why I love going to the Saturday class is because our warm up is, we run, we loosen our body up, loosen our hands up and our wrists and stuff. And then we do grip fighting as our warm up. No forward rolls, not one in sight. And
Hmm.
I love it because our Friday class, it's like the normal line drills. All right, give me 2 lines or 3 lines or however many lines. Give me forward rolls, backward rolls, cartwheels, shrimping, which I don't mind doing any of these things. I just don't like doing them in a line like that because you got the one white belt behind you. Has got to be the fastest. And it's like, son, relax. Like, you're not very good at most things.
Yeah, you don't have to
And
forward roll through me. It's okay, buddy.
I think, what was it, yesterday I did nogi, and it was a pretty decent pace group. We did our forward rolls, and when I do forward rolls, I don't do them like the step by step way that you're supposed to do them, like lead with your shoulder and then roll. No, I just do like a straight head dive and tuck at the last second. And one time I didn't tuck fast enough, and it's pretty commonly known that I face plant a lot when I train, and that it was like, okay, I got it out the way. But when we got the cartwheels, and I can do cartwheels pretty well. I'm not afraid of cartwheels, but my left shoulder is kind of funky. But I didn't do cartwheels last week, and I think they're looking at me like, oh, this old dude can't do cartwheels. What a joke. So yesterday I was like, all right, let me show these motherfuckers. So I did a cartwheel, and immediately this sharp pain goes to my shoulder. I was like,
Oh no.
one of the guys goes, well, at least it looked good. I was like, yeah. I just wanted
See,
to
it wouldn't
prove a
even look
point.
good if I was doing it. I do not. Cartwheels are a whole other thing. It's like all these things that you think of like little kids' gymnastics. Somehow those are the things I do not want to do.
It's funny because I always like clown doing cartwheels, and then when I do, you see someone do a cartwheel pass. I was like, well, I'm not doing that, so I shouldn't have to do cartwheels during warm
Yep.
ups. So that guy can go do cartwheels all they want and do your cartwheel passes all you want, but I'm not doing that. I was like, well, you're probably going to need the forward roll though at some point. Yeah,
Yeah.
probably more often than not. I get swept a
Yeah, I've
lot.
used those a time or two. I guess they make sense ultimately.
Yeah, I think well today in training there was a position where I should have talked for a forward roll again, face plant. So it's just, I mean, and the guy who did it, he was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." I was like, "Don't be sorry.
Yep.
Like you didn't do it. You did what you're supposed to do. I did, and I just fell on my face." And
Yep. It's like I know not to look directly at the ground, but somehow I still do it sometimes. If you
yeah,
catch me off guard, I'm gonna face plant.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a point at a point now with me where it's just like if I don't face plant at any point early, I know that I'm due. And I'm like, let me just get this shit out the way. It's
Do it
Friday
on my
night.
terms.
Yeah, like let me do it now because I know Saturday morning when it's rough and tumble, I I don't want to get thrown to my
Hmm.
face. So, but hey, that's jujitsu for us.
Yep.
Um, so with your training in jiu-jitsu and everything, besides forward rolls and cartwheels, what were some of the more challenging things that you experienced, just kind of coming up in the ranks?
Um, I mean, like with training, there's stuff like takedowns. I'm still scared of takedowns. It's one of those things where it's like I want to do them, but I'm also so scared of getting hurt. Um, but I mean, coming up as a girl in the ranks, and I mean, I was 30. I started training in the basement right before I turned 30, so I was 30 by the time I stepped out on the mats. Which 30 doesn't feel old until you roll with people that aren't 30. And then you're like, okay, yeah, maybe I am getting up there. And just still being the only girl in the room a lot of times. And we had a solid group of ladies even when I started. We had a couple women that trained a lot. But you're not always in the same class. So it would be cool if one or two other girls were there, but usually I would be the only one. Um, but I don't know. I guess it didn't feel that bad because we've always had a good group of guys too. They always took care of me. Never made me feel like they didn't want to train with me or anything like that. So I think mentally it was probably more of a challenge than it actually was, like it feels weird walking in and being the only girl, uh even when the other people don't make you feel uncomfortable for it. Um and I don't know. I think most of it was just the hardest part in the sport has always been myself, my own roadblocks that I put on myself, always wanting to be better. Like I'm a one stripe white belt. I don't know why I think I have to beat up these blue belt boys. Like it's probably not going to happen, but I feel like I need to, or then if I'm a blue belt, I feel like I need to beat up the one stripe boys, and that might not even always happen. Um, so it's definitely it's always been the pressure I put on myself. No one else, ever made me feel like I had to be better than I was or anything like that. But always wanting to prove yourself, I guess, even when you don't necessarily need to.
I think that is kind of one of those things we kind of all put on ourselves. It's
Hmm.
like, I don't want to let someone down. I don't want to, let coach down. I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to, but then, like you say, though, there's a certain point where you have to stop and say, well, I'm a one stripe white belt, or, I'm this far along in my game. Like, I shouldn't expect that I'm going to go out there and stunt on some purple belts.
Hmm.
like, like if you go out there and get like beat down by a purple belt, that's probably part of what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
You're learning, you're learning. Hey, okay. It's like we're talking about back takes yesterday, and our coach was pointing out, it was like, we want to get to a position now as we're thinking about escaping the back takes. You want to chain that together with an attack, or kind of at least going towards an attack. So it's like, if you're able to get away, or even if you've got their back and they escape from you, you want to be working towards something else, instead of like, okay, well, if they escape, at least try to get the guard, a neutral position, which is safe. He was like, well, if you're white belt, that's fine, but if you're a blue belt and up, you should be chaining something together, transitioning. And when he said, I was like, oh shit. Like, am I like are you sure? Because
Yeah.
I'm not wearing a rash guard that gives my rank away. I'm wearing, like, I looked around, I was like, okay, everybody's wearing like the regular rash guard, all right. And then there's like one other blue belt there, and he had on his blue belt rash guard. I was like, fuck. I was like, oh, he knows, but I don't know, because this is a new coach and I haven't trained under him, so I was like, he doesn't know anything. But he looked at me when he said it, and I was like, I think he knows. I think he's calling me out
Yeah.
indirectly. But that's the thing. We put that in our own heads, though. It's like, huh, like he's watching me. Meanwhile, he's not. And then when you hit the move of the day, they're definitely not watching. I know, because I hit the move of the day today, and I looked over. My coach was looking in another direction, talking to someone,
It's
and I
only
was
when
like,
you get
dude.
hit with it. That's the only time they're looking.
Oh no, he saw when I got hit. Yeah, and I was
Yep.
just like, really? Because he even called it. I was like, yeah, the move of the day, and I was like, are you serious right now? Like, I just did it, like, last roll, and you didn't see. But when it happened to me, you're just looking directly at me. It almost kind of like a look of disappointment too. Like, you should know better,
Yeah.
but I don't. Like,
Yep. It never fails. Coach is always looking when I'm letting the white belt work, never when I'm like highlight reeling people.
I've decided now, when I'm letting the white belt work, I just say, hey, we're gonna flow roll, so we're moving at a pace where it's like coach can see, oh, he's letting them work.
Yeah.
It was like, except for yesterday when I got choked, and it was just like. Like, I came home, was just like, my wife was like, "How was training?" It was all right. I got choked 3 times. It was kind of embarrassing, but it's all right. I'm fine. She was like, "You went unconscious?" Like, no, 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 no. It's just I got choked 3 times in front of coach by white belts, and she was just like, she doesn't care. She was just like, "Oh, yeah, I'm just gonna go to the basement." Like, just I don't want to talk about it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. We'll see. Next week I'm gonna show up, and I'm just taking it to all the white belts. So I know they're younger than me and they're stronger, but I'm hill hooking. Like, they don't know it yet, but like, they're about to feel my wrath.
They're going to learn.
And
It's fine.
that coach loves leg locks, so he's probably gonna be like, "Oh yeah, good job." And then we're like, "But you're a white belt." I was like, "Son, I'm not. Like, I, I'm a subpar blue belt." So, like, but I can still do hill hooks. Like, how do you approach training, like, getting ready? Do you have like a set routine, of, like, focus area, just, like, if you're working on the move of the week, are you specifically like kind of working to pepper that into your game, or do you have something that you're like, look, I know what I do already, I'm going to sharpen that tool, and try to get the move of the day in there as well, but I want to stay focused on what I know, and kind of strengthen that, I guess.
For me, it usually depends on if I'm getting ready to compete or if I'm just training for fun. And if I am getting ready to compete, it usually depends on which rule set I'm getting ready to do. So like ADCC, I just did an ADCC Open. So I was trying to do a lot of, even if I was in the gi, I was trying not to rely on gi grips a lot. I was trying to think like I'm in no gi. Um, and thinking about ways to work the point system, because their point system's kind of weird. So if I got people's back, I would let a hook out for a few seconds and then get the hook back in and stuff like that, because they let you game the points that way. I mean, sub only, obviously, when I'm rolling for fun, especially the last couple like years, white belt, blue belt, I always wanted the sub. I always wanted the sub. Um, now I'm more positional. I'm not always going for a sub on people, but if I'm training for a sub only rule set, then now I'm trying to finish subs on people. I'm going from one sub to another if I lose one, stuff like that. I'm actually excited now because after ADCC, I'm kind of easing off of competition, and it's fun for me because it's less pressure, and I get to just go in the room and play around with new stuff, put myself in bad spots, see what I can come up with, and that's for me. That feels like when I grow the most, when I'm okay trying weird things, not always working. Obviously, I'm gonna get caught in some stuff. I'm gonna be in bad spots, but um, that seems to be when I'm like playful, is when I find stuff that I'm like, okay, I could do this more. So I'm excited now because like this week being back in training, that's what I get to do. I get to have fun. I'm not putting all that pressure on myself. But if a competition's coming up, I'm usually trying to work my good stuff, make it even better, sharpen all those edges. But I'll still, if I'm going with newer people, I'm always usually starting down so that I can work on getting up, getting sweeps, getting out of bad positions, stuff like that. That's pretty much always. I feel like my bottom game can always use work. So I am happy to start on the bottom and either get squished for 5 minutes or figure out a way to get out of there.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, if you don't figure out a way, this is going to be a long 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
eventually you get better at that. When I got promoted to blue belt, and one of my other teammates, he got promoted, I want to say like 2 weeks later. And I remember there was a following class where we were working on escaping side control, and coach made us, we had two different groups, and we were to teach them our techniques to get out. And I was like, I don't know that you want me to do that, because usually I just kind of wait it out until they get tired. And that sounds weird because it's like, well, they're in top position. Like, no, they're spamming submissions. They're gonna get exhausted. And I'm like, yeah. But uh, I had a couple escapes that I didn't know that I had, and I didn't even know they were real escapes. I thought it was just bullshitting. And it
Yeah.
was like, oh, okay, that's a good one. I was like, really?
I think that's
Like,
most of my
really?
jujitsu.
Yeah. I'm certain most of my jujitsu is just something I'm just like, this should work. I hope it works. And then when it
Maybe.
doesn't, it's like, that's not even jujitsu. Like, I don't know, but I, I think, as upper belts, I don't, it's weird to say blue belt as upper belt, because I still feel like I'm learning. Like, I'm like, we're always learning, but I feel like as a blue belt, I'm just always like, oh, that's fascinating. It's like, dude, you've been doing this for how many years? It's like, it shouldn't be fascinating. You should know that. It's like,
Yeah.
but I do feel like there's certain points though, when you have some color on your belt, it's like working those bad positions to kind of figure out, like, okay, well, how would I get out of this? And even if you're like, I know how to get out of this, you still got to sharpen it. You still got to, it's like a pencil. Go up to the pencil sharpener. Teacher, can I go sharpen my pencil? Yes. And then you go work on, escape and side control. So I'm here with the metaphors. I got this.
I'm loving it.
In your opinion, what sets jiu-jitsu apart from other martial arts?
I mean, I'm gonna be biased because I haven't honestly trained other martial arts. I've seen my husband and he's trained several. I think for me it's just the vastness of it. Um, he'll talk about taekwondo, and he was he got his black belt in taekwondo when he was young, but it was a lot of kata. It was a lot of memorizing the different techniques, which you do in jujitsu, kind of, to learn the moves, to drill them and stuff like that. But there's so many variables, and then there's just so many techniques. Um, I mean, just an armbar, there's so many different ways to do it. And I like the creativity aspect that can go into it too. Like, if you know how to do an armbar, even if you don't learn how to do it from every position, eventually it's like your body kind of figures it out, and you'll catch arm bars that you've never actually learned before, but you just know the mechanics. Your body kind of knows what to do. And I probably get more arm bars in weird spots than I ever do in, close guard or mount, you know. But there just is so much. Like, even after years and years and years of training this martial art, I will see a move that I've never seen before, um, or learn a move a different way than what I was taught before, and suddenly it clicks. Um, and I mean, even my head coach, I've trained under him the whole time that I've trained, and I go to his classes every week, and I've seen him teach the same stuff over and over again. And then recently I've seen him show a lot of stuff that I've never seen him show before. And that's cool. Like, that's so fascinating to me, because you don't get bored, like, um there's just so many different styles out there. And I think the community is really awesome too. Like, just being able to do what we're doing right now. And just, we there's so many gyms in our area that we're friends with and that we like to cross train with. And I know that wasn't always the case. And there's still some, like, traditional style schools out there, which we are not. um and I like that. Like, we're chill. We like going and training with other schools. We like being friends with other schools. We don't need to dojo storm, um but and just the practical application of it too, obviously not all jujitsu is self-defense applicable. But I do think, even if I'm not going to go and pull guard and berimbolo someone on the street, just the body mechanics that I do get to work help a lot. And the confidence it gives you, like, just not walking around in this, like, shelled up sort of container where people can tell that they could mess with you and do something. Like, I think it does bring out a confidence in most people where others don't really want to mess with them. Um, for the most part, at least, you get some drinks and some people, and they might still. But yeah, I just, like, especially, like, I help teach the kids classes, and I think that's where you see it a lot. And, like, women too, like, teaching the women's class and seeing what a drastic impact it can have on people's ability to just feel comfortable having a voice, saying no to people, standing up for themselves in very, very basic ways. It's a huge change for some people. And I think I think all martial arts can give you a sort of confidence, but I think in jujitsu, I see it in a way where, even if you don't have to use it, you could. Like, you could figure out, okay, create space, use my legs, control posture, like, all of these things that are very important for self-defense scenarios.
Like, I'm glad you said that, because I try to explain that all the time to friends who don't train, families. Like, they'll watch jujitsu with me, and it's like, that's not practical in self-defense. It's like, oh yeah, like you said, like, no one's inverting in a
Yeah.
street fights. If they are, oh my god, and they're getting stomped in, like,
Maybe if the person
that's
attacking you is really bad, like, if you're just toying with them, maybe.
yeah, possibly. I mean, if you're like super high level and you can just do whatever you want, maybe it's still risky.
Yeah.
But I always try to explain it's like just understanding body positioning, creating space, when to close, up space, you know, creating pressure, things like that, that regular folks, they're not going to understand. Like, you know, it's like, oh, you've got mount, and like, oh, you're just sitting there. Like, anytime we watch a movie and someone gets mounted, I'm like, oh my god. Like right now where they're sitting, they're on their hips, just bridge and
Yeah.
you're out. Like, oh, they're a little higher, create some frames, get the half guard, you know, something. My wife was like, just could you not jujitsu the show right now? Just can
Oh
we
yeah, I love it.
enjoy?
Watching anything with my husband, if there's a fight scene, I just kind of look at him and I just wait to see what he's going to say. Like, I think there's maybe one or two things that we've ever watched where he wasn't just completely humiliated by how bad the rear naked choke or, mount or something was. Like rear naked chokes especially, he's always having
Mhm.
a struggle when a choke comes on.
We watched something not too long ago where somebody had a really decent rear naked choke, but the problem with it is like the person that they were choking was still like, it was like, well, I mean, it looks decent, but obviously it's not because that person's still fighting.
Yeah.
That person should be asleep in any second now, but they weren't. I mean, I get it. It's a movie, sure, but there are times you just see things and it's like that. It's not how that works.
Hmm.
Like, there's a whole different process there. Like, then there was a horror movie I was watching though. I know I took a video of it. But somebody did invert, like they're on the subway, and I was like, "What the like? What did I just see?" So I
Yeah.
rewound it, took a video, and I keep forgetting to send it to my buddy. I was like, "Yo, this was in a horror movie." He's like, "Oh no, I think they inverted and then they went to like single leg X,"
Nice.
and I was like, and then it wasn't a fighting movie; it was a zombie movie,
Yeah.
but I was like, "That's really interesting that happened." I'm
Yeah.
excited. Like, I'm really happy for them,
Did
but
you did you ever see the Attack on Titan jujitsu?
I have not. I feel
Oh
like
man,
I've
it's
come across
actually
it.
it's exciting. It's fun to watch. Like I remember I think I want to say I watched Attack on Titan first before I started training, but I think my husband was already training. So he was like stoked because there's some pretty good jujitsu in Attack on Titan. And it's fun to watch. There's like a whole like I think there's like a Kimura and some takedowns and maybe an armbar. It's been a while, but it's pretty fun. It's a whole fun sequence, and I think they've done it a couple times actually in a couple different fight sequences. But as far as animated jujitsu, that's definitely some of the best I've seen.
I feel like my buddy maybe has sent it to me or mentioned it to me,
Yeah,
and anytime it gets brought up, I'm just like, okay, sure, whatever, buddy. Although I should trust him because he didn't train jujitsu. He's done lots of different martial arts, and I believe his wife actually used to train at our gym uh like many years before I started training, and
yeah,
she just stopped because of the commute. It wasn't conducive to her life. I've been trying to convince her again, like, come on, dude, it's fun. I mean, her commute is actually worse now, but I'm still like, come on, dude, you can do this, you can make this. I mean, come on, please. Like, because like she's like super jacked and like she's like a bodybuilder. So I'm like, I just want to fight you.
just do it for me.
I think I can take you. And she's like, well, you probably can because I was only a white belt and I wasn't a good one. I was like, yeah, but it's like riding a bike. You never forget. Like, come on, let's fight. She was like, no. And also, to be fair, I am a little intimidated by her, not because of like all the muscles, but like she's always kind of had this scowl on her face where I'm like, I think she's mad. Meanwhile, she's actually very, very friendly. But
Yeah, it's that
I've
resting bitch
always,
face. It'll
yeah,
get you.
yeah. Yeah, like I think the first words I ever said to her was like, we like were having pizza, and there was pizza sitting in front of her, and I go, "Hey, are you gonna eat that?" And she was like, "No," and I just walked up and like palmed the pizza and like walked. I was like, "Eh," like, and since then we've been friends ever since. But it's like I always feel like even when we're engaged in like friendly conversation, I'm always like, I got a feeling if I say the wrong thing, she might knock me out. And I don't know how I feel about this. Like, I'm a little concerned, which is why I'm like, look, like, just come over to the gym, sign a waiver. I just want to establish my dominance and let you know that I'm not the one you're going to be punking around this house. But I got a feeling she'll probably break my arm. So, I don't know. Maybe I
Those are the
shouldn't
fun ones though.
invite her.
Like the bodybuilders and stuff. Those are the ones to test you for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the folks that come into the gym. It's like, well, that would never work on me because I'm this and I'm that, and it's like, okay, like you can believe that if you want. I've told my wife that I don't know that I want to have conversations, and I don't think I'm a fight expert by any means. No, but when my friends and I were sitting around watching movies or something, and we started talking about the fight scene, it's like what you're saying isn't going to work. I just like it's not like it's not that clean cut. Like, yes, everybody has a puncher's chance, but if you miss that punch, you get taken down by a grappler, you're going to have a very, very rough time if you don't know what to do once you hit the ground.
Yeah.
There's some folks that do, but those who don't, like I have friends, they're just like, they think they could just beat anyone. It's like, are you sure? I think I don't even have that kind of confidence. I
Oh
see
yeah.
folks out at the bar and I'm like, yeah, I know some stuff, but I think that dude would still beat my ass.
Yeah. But I think that's another thing that comes around with it too. It's like the more you know, the more you know you don't know.
Hmm.
And the more aware you are of the fact that even though you know these skills, stuff can still happen. People can have weapons. People can be better than you. They can have friends, and it's like it's this weird thing that happens where you train and you actually are almost like I don't know, you're less willing to talk shit to everyone.
Yeah. Like I'm a shit talker, but within the safe zone of like family and like close
Yeah.
friends. And it's not even like, oh, I can beat your ass. I'm gonna talk shit, but it's like because I say goofy things all the time, and it's like I'm gonna say something dumb, and when they hit me back with something, it's like, oh, good one. I don't have a comeback for that. You're right. I am a little dumb. I am dyslexic. Like, all right, fine. I can't really read. I can, but for you as someone who's training jiu-jitsu, how has that affected your everyday life? Like, what's a carryover that you take away from, grappling that you just kind of carry in your everyday life?
I mean, besides just being like that annoying person that's basically all I post about or probably talk about too. Um, I mean, I think it's definitely helped my confidence level. Um, I was always kind of meek and quiet and um I mean I guess I still am if I'm around people I'm not familiar with, but I think I carry it differently. Um and I almost like probably come off more standoffish now without meaning to, but I think it's just again, it's like a weird thing where like people just don't necessarily want to mess with you, and I don't think I really had that before. But I'll stand up for myself more now if I need to. I've always been very non-confrontational, but now I can put my foot down, when needed. I'll stand up for myself, my friends, whoever I need to. Um, and I mean, that's probably the biggest thing I've taken away. Like I'm not scared to be in groups of people like I used to be. And but also again, like we kind of talked about, like it makes you more aware of everything too. Like my situational awareness, I think, is a lot better. Anytime I'm out, I'm kind of scanning everything. I'm aware if there's someone that kind of rubs me the wrong way, I'm keeping an eye on them. Like, um, going to shows and being in like the pit and stuff, like kind of watching out for the people that are smaller than me. Like, I don't know, stuff like that. It's probably I'm sure there's more, but those are the only ones that I think I've like noticed in the moment.
Yeah, think about that, the awareness thing a lot, because I feel like since training, I become a lot more hyper aware of everything when I'm out,
Hmm.
which then made me not go out. Like everybody, was like, oh, let's go out to Baltimore. I was like, I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah.
He's like, why not? It's just like people, man. It's like people are dumb and people like to do dumb shit, and I don't want to get into any. Well, when I go out, I'm just focusing on my group. It's like I'm glad that you're focusing on your group, but I'm focusing on the people that could be a threat to our group, and I
Hmm.
don't want to be around those people. It's like, and plus beer is expensive. Why don't we just go get a 30 pack, go back to the house, put on some Bjork, and drink? Like,
Yeah.
maybe
Like
not Bjork.
it's kind of exhausting. Like it's exhausting going out and like constantly feeling like you have to be aware of everything that's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. And even with my family, like we were just talking about this yesterday, my wife and I, we were talking about like, YouTube prank shows, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's like there's a video I saw recently. I don't know how old the video is, but I just saw the video recently where a guy's at like arcade, doing like one of the motorcycle race games, and a guy jumps on the back of the motorcycle with him and like hugs him and says, "Where we going, Big Daddy?" And the guy gets off the motorcycle, he's ready to fight. And it's like, "Oh, no, it's a prank, it's a prank." It's like, that's not a free pass. That's not a get out of
Yeah.
jail free card, dude. You're about to get your head knocked off. But my wife and I were talking about it. It's like, if I'm out, like I'm a pretty laid back guy. You do that to me, I'm not gonna be, like nonchalant about it. I'm like, yo, chill, dude. Like, you don't know what could happen to you. Luckily, you picked the right one today, because I'm a nice guy. I'm just gonna let you know. Don't do that.
Hmm.
But you can pick somebody that's gonna, stomp you into the dirt without thinking twice. And that says my wife, though, thinking about it, I was like, but if I'm out with our daughter and someone approaches me, it's a lot different. And the main concern is always protecting my daughter and keeping her safe. But it's like, okay, if I know she's safe, I'm breaking someone's hand, like
Hmm.
for funsies at that point. Like, you know, it's weird that I mentioned Bjork, but then here comes Bjork again. She was at the airport, like this is something back in the 90s, and a reporter approached her, and she's got her child in a stroller, and the reporter approaches her, and you can see she doesn't want to be bothered, and she just turned around and started wailing on the reporter. Like, just leave people alone.
Yeah.
Like, also learn self-defense. Like, if you knew a little bit of something, Bjork couldn't do that. She's from Iceland. What the fuck she gonna do?
Yeah.
And she with
Well,
a
yeah, I mean,
snowball?
even it was the Dulles Town Center Mall, I think, not that long ago. There was
Yep.
that prank, and the guy like shot the guy doing the
Mhm.
prank. And it's like, yeah, like some people, especially this area, like people are carrying, like some people are just on edge. It's not a risk I'd be wanting to take.
No, it's like, just leave people alone. Like,
Hmm.
all for some views on
Yeah.
YouTube. It's like, okay, I get it. You get paid. That's cool. Like, but chill. Like,
Yeah. Hope you
like,
get paid enough for the hospital bill. Like,
yeah, like the dude who got shot. It's like, was it worth it?
yeah.
Like, because I don't think it is. But
Mm-mm. Although he
but
did probably get a lot of views after that.
I was just thinking, it's like, but he got what he was looking for, which was
Yeah.
publicity. So, and that's, the sad and unfortunate thing is, like, folks are looking just for that. It's like, I just want, publicity. It's like, I don't, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I was recently out at a Naga, and I saw a few different, folks wearing, like, their jump shirts. I had on just like an X-Men shirt. Like whenever I go to like jiu-jitsu events or things like that, I wear comic book stuff, and I go to comic book stuff, I wear jiu-jitsu stuff, and let people know my hobbies. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, here comes this nerd. Oh, never mind. Like he might hurt somebody. Then I go to a comic book or go to a jiu-jitsu thing. It's like I try to be unassuming. It's like, hey, I'm just a guy. I like comic books. Nerd. But like, going out, to the Nagas, like, I'm talking to folks. I was talking to a couple teammates that they didn't know that I was BJJ Wiki. So we're just sitting there talking casually. And then later on, when I spoke to them again, about being on the podcast, I was like, oh shit, that was you. I was like, yeah, it was me. Like, I like not being seen. I like being low profile.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's comforting to me because there are a lot of crazy people out there, and you kind of have to, like, the folks that I communicate with through social media. Like, I feel like I have a good sense of the ones that I communicate with in kind of a, I would say, relative frequent manner. I feel like I have a good sense. Someone's like, okay, I trust them enough. Like, I don't know if it's like I don't trust you enough to stay at my home. I trust you enough to meet you at a gym. We can sign this waiver, and I trust if you
Yeah.
get the armbar, you're gonna let go, or if you get the choke, you're gonna let go when I tap. But there is a thing just to it. It's like there are a lot of people in the world, and a lot of people are goofy. So those folks that want to be YouTube famous, I'm proud of you. Good, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as you can see, and I mean, you've seen me before. We've met, but I mean, I'm still hiding behind this microphone. Like, I don't know who's
I
gonna see
wish I
this
had
video.
one. Just pretend.
Yeah. Well, when I first started recording, I had like a detachable camera, and I would have it off to the side, so you only could see half my face, if even that. You might be able to see my eye.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that all failed, I had to get a new laptop. I was like, oh shit, this is like right in the middle. I can't hide. So now I got this mic, and I'm just like, yeah, it's just because, like, I don't use the video other than for, like, again, the promo, which is usually
Mm-hmm.
like a minute, but still it's like, I don't know. I don't want people to see me. I want people to get an ideal. Like, all right, I got warrants, man. I don't know. They might see me and be like, oh shit, there he is. He's doing podcasting. We got him now. He's somewhere in Maryland. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess. Come find me.
No, I'm the same way. I like being low key. Like, I mean, I run the Sharkpit page. I make a lot of the memes, but like a lot of people don't know that. Like I'm sure there's people that probably trained with me for a year that don't realize that I'm the one behind the scenes. But it is fun. I like when we get visitors in. Like we've had a couple of people come and they'll be like, "Yeah, I literally have followed your page for forever and I wanted to stop and train when I knew that I'd be in the area. Like I wanted to come to your gym because of the memes." One of our guys that's been with us for a few years now, he moved from Tennessee and like the memes were the reason he decided to come try our gym. Like, so that's always fun. I get a kick out of that. It's exciting um and when they find out I'm the one making them, it's like a fun little moment too. But for the most part, it's just I don't know. It's almost like a little secret that's not that secret, but enough that it's fun.
Hey, memes go a long way. I mean, memes unite the world, I think.
Hmm.
So, don't ever let anybody look, for all those parents out there saying, "Oh, what do you want to do when you grow up?" I want to make memes, mommy. Baby, that's not gonna get you anywhere. I have a friend who makes memes, and he makes a lot of good money making memes, which is
Yeah.
he makes money in a way that it's like just making memes, and he's making an insane amount of money. Where it's like that's your job, yeah, make memes. It's like,
Listen, if they need anyone, let me
yeah,
know.
well, and that's the thing. It's like I might make my own meme once every month, maybe 2 months. I
Hmm.
don't do it too often, just because there's a lot of stuff that's like when I go to do something, it's like it's already been done, or someone's doing it. I actually there's a picture like Batman and Robin and Batgirl, like from the old Adam West Batman, and they're
Hmm.
holding her, and I was gonna put up a meme talk about leg locks. And one of my mutuals, and I've actually had this in waiting for like a year. I just saw him post it yesterday. And I was like, hmm. But if there's anyone that I would expect to do it, it would be him because
Yeah.
he's always quick with the comic book content. So, but it's like I don't make my own memes mostly. I repost, Sharkpit, is one of the ones that, I would say, I always tell people was like a big part of my growth with BJJ Wiki comes from, folks like yourself making memes. It's like, I'm going to repost. I always try to make sure I give credit because like, I don't want people thinking like, oh, he out here stealing memes. Like, no, like I'm not that clever for a lot of these memes. Like I write straightforward memes. Like when I see some of these other ones that are like super clever, it's like, that's good. I'm gonna take it. But like
Yeah.
my memes are just like, hey, that's a wrist lock. Ouch. It's like okay, it's super basic, but I guess it works. Like,
Yeah, sometimes you got to go with the classics, you know?
I mean, but it's something that you know it unites people. Like just laughter, comedy. I mean, that goes a long way. Because if you can make folks laugh and feel comfortable with that, then it's like, okay. And, it's not at the expense of someone else either. You're not
Yeah.
like, let's go over here and poke fun at this nerd. And, it's like, hey, we're all laughing at that loser. It's like, yeah, you're laughing, but, it's not cool while you're laughing versus you're like, hey, we're doing jiu-jitsu and it looks a little silly, but we're having fun. You all kind of laugh. I was like, yeah, we are in this boat together. But, that's how you unite is through laughter.
Hmm.
For someone starting jiu-jitsu because you're a coach, what's something you say to someone day one coming in? They're fresh to jiu-jitsu, they've never done anything athletic in their lives, and they're nervous, they're scared. Like how do you ease that anxiety in that individual and make them feel comfortable on the mats?
Um, I I like to tell people that it's going to be overwhelming. Um, you're going to feel like you don't know anything probably for a long time, and that's normal. Um, freezing up is normal. Uh, and it's going to vary depending on the gym, but we're very like do what you're comfortable with. So if you just want to watch and see what it's all about, do that. If you want to jump in, do that. If you want me to find someone safe for you to go with, I will do that. Um, and I like to emphasize like little victories. I think little victories are something that keep you sane in jujitsu because it feels like a uphill battle for a very, very, very long time, maybe always, depending on how tough your training room is. Um, so don't focus on the fact that you couldn't hit the move of the day on the person that also just saw it and knows how to defend it, like they know that you're going for it. If you hit a move that you couldn't hit a month ago, that's exciting. If you survive against someone that normally taps you 50 times, that's a victory. If you're normally out of breath after 2 minutes and you make it 4 minutes, that's a victory. Like, all of those, like finding the little things to celebrate definitely makes a huge difference. But I think just letting people know like day one that this is a very long-term thing and that it is normal to be overwhelmed. I think that's the biggest thing. Coming in and thinking you're going to memorize these things or it's going to make sense after one class. Like if if it does, I'm jealous because it has never been like that for me. Um, so yeah, I mean those just just letting people know they can take it slow. It's fine.
I felt like you're just calling me out all through that. Like I tried going for the move of the day so many times today, and yeah, they all were there too. Like, of course, I'm not gonna be able to get. And then when the one time I do get it, it's like I know the dude wasn't even trying to defend. I think he was just like, all right,
Yeah.
it's the end of the class. Just take this shit. Meanwhile, they're just stunting on me, dropping me on my face nonstop. And then I roll with one of our other purple belts who he was just running a submission clinic on me.
Yeah.
It was under double digits this time though. So
See, little
um
victories.
small victories, and then my cardio. As soon as you said the card, I was like, damn, she just got me. She just knows the problems I was having today. Like, what do we do? We like in our warm ups for the grip fighting. I was huffing. I was trying to pretend I wasn't huffing and puffing, but I couldn't fake it anymore. I was like, dude, my chest's about to explode. I gotta breathe. And like one of the white belts looked at me. I was like, don't look at me. I'll
Yeah.
wrist lock you. I'm allowed to. Meanwhile, I got wrist locked by the purple belt, and I
Well,
didn't know how to feel. It was emotional. Like I punched the mat, not like out of anger, but I was just like I hit the mat and then like hopped up, and he's like smiling at me. He was like, don't do that. I have sensitive wrist. I'm emotional, and
yeah. Purple belts,
and
man,
then
they're evil.
I saw him try to go for it again. Like like he grabbed my hand and like I swiveled. I was like, dude, not twice in one roll. Like, what are we doing here? Come on, man. Like, I'm
You're
mad at
setting
you. I'm like,
boundaries. That's good.
see, small victories.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not talking to him next week. Like, I only rolled with him because nobody like stood in front of him when it was time to roll. It was like anybody and nobody. It's like I'm always the one that has to go over. It's like, yo, I'm the last person to go over to this dude. I'm 46 with a bad hip, bad cardio, and I'm a little tired. It's like everybody else is all these young cats. It's like, now we're gonna stay on this end of the gym. There you go. All right, let me go get this ass whipping real quick. Not expecting a wrist lock, and that's what I caught. So I'm mad. You know what? After we're done recording, I'm going to get ribs. Like, I'm emotional. No. So injury prevention and physical balance. How do you manage that?
Oof.
Like the physical demands of like being on the mats all the time, especially because like you're extremely active and you're a competitor too. Like, how do you maintain yourself?
Um, it's something that I struggled with probably until I got my purple belt. Because I was always the one, my husband would try to tell me you don't have to roll with everyone. Like, some people are not going to be a good person to roll with, but I was stubborn and I would do it anyway. And I would definitely push my body too hard. And I had a lot of injuries, especially at like blue belt. I was injured a lot. Um, and I think when I got my purple belt, I really decided like, okay, I gotta be choosier. I gotta take better care of myself. I have to listen to my body more, um, just for longevity. And I mean, I signed up for so many competitions and then would get hurt right beforehand and have to drop them, and that always sucked. So, um, I I'm more choosy definitely about who I go with. Usually I won't roll with like new guys until they've been there for a couple months and they've kind of smoothed out some of the edges. Um, if they're way bigger than me, unless I know I can trust them, just because size, even if they're trustworthy, if something moves weird, injuries can happen. And I mean, and I'm bigger than a lot of the people at my gym too, so I don't blame them if they don't want to go with me. Um, and just I kind of have to decide which days I'm going to train hard and which days I'm going to flow roll, or maybe I'm rolling with more of the white belts and letting them work some stuff. So definitely balance. Like if I show up at a class and it's a lot of upper belts that I know are going to whoop me, that's my harder day. And then maybe tomorrow I'm just doing flow rolls, or, even if I need to sit out, like if I just drill and then I'm not rolling, you know, usually I'll only do that if like I have something bothering me enough that I need to nurse it. But yeah, I mean, just being less stubborn and listening to my body more has definitely made a huge difference. I've only had one injury since I've been a purple belt, and it was just a freak accident where some stuff got tangled up weird and my foot got hurt. And like that was it. And it wasn't that bad to heal up. So, um, and I made sure to let it heal up, not train too much while it was healing up, because that was definitely something I was bad at doing before too. Um, so yeah, just moderation and being less stubborn.
Yeah, I think for a lot of us on the mats, that's just the injury thing is a weird one because we get hurt. And again, we love this. and we want to get back. And I think I was just talking to someone. They asked me, I don't remember what they were having done, but they're like, "Do you think it's too soon for me to go back and train like tonight?"
The age-old
And
question.
I says to him, I was like, "I'm the wrong person to ask
Yeah.
because I had surgery and I trained that night, still high on anesthesia. It was not a good time,
Oh my
but I
god.
still made it in. I had my wife take me up to the gym. And I was like, go scurry about. And I come in. I was like, I'm just gonna watch. And I says, I was like, can I get in there? I had a lipoma removed from my side. So I'm tender, but I was like, I think I can get out here and do some forward rolls. I can do some break falls and then backward rolls. And then I was like, what, let me just go ahead in here and drill a little bit. All right, let's go ahead and spar a little bit. I should not have. And I was still high, mind you. So it's fine. But we want to be there. We want
Hmm.
to stay on the mats as much as we can. I think there's a time I uh, separated my rib. I think that's the one where I wasn't messing around. I was like, I'm gonna chill.
Yeah.
I'm going like
Oh
that's not
yeah,
gonna
I've
bad.
had 2 rib issues and they suck.
Yeah. Like weirdly enough, like sneezing didn't bother me, but laughter did, and I love the laugh. And I couldn't, and at the time, I got a young child at home who's always doing funny things, so I'm just
Hmm.
laughing and it's hurting so much. But sneezing, never an issue. Like I was terrified to sneeze, and I was like, oh, that wasn't that bad at all.
What
But
about
when I'm
coughing?
laughing, coughing was not terrible, but it wasn't
Okay.
as bad as laughing for some reason. And hiccups, I had the hiccups one time and it was not fun. I was like, yo, this sucks. But ribs, like that's the only injury that where I was like, I'm gonna take my time and let this shit
Yeah.
go. The doctor said 2 weeks. I was like, okay, I'm gonna let you know now. You should probably give that degree back. It's not gonna be 2 weeks. Let's I was like, I'm just gonna sit out 4, and then at about 4 weeks, I was like, okay, I still feel a little funky. Let's go to 6. And at about 6 weeks, I felt good enough to get back on the mats, but I still felt nervous.
Hmm.
Um, like kind of let my body just be. And then when I strained my groin last spring, that's the groin and the hamstring are weird injuries because you think they're better. They're not better. They're not better for a long time. And I got injured in April. I came back in May, wasn't ready. So I sat out and came back in July and I kind of wasn't ready. And then I, eased my way back into August and I was a little bit ready, but I was still nervous and I still have issues now with it. And it's just like we're like whenever we're training, competing, whatever, we're always injured. Or there's always something. So
Hmm.
nobody's out there at 100% anymore. So get over it, people. Um, and last question for you here before we get out of here. How do you define success in jiu-jitsu for yourself and kind of in general, like when you think about, our community?
Um, I think on a personal level, I mean, I think ultimately it comes down to your goals. If obviously if you want to go out there and you want to be a world champion, then you're successful when you achieve something like that. When you go out there and you're winning all the tournaments and you've got the PANS medals and the ADCC medals and all of that, definitely is one way to show that you're successful. But I that's not everyone's goal. That's not I like competing, but I'm not competing at a high level. I don't really want to um to me I'm competing to test myself, to push my comfort zone, and to get better at competing, honestly. And so I think if I can go out there and I know that I have a issue competing well, if I go out there and I feel good when I'm competing, to me that's success. Even if I don't win, it's I accomplished my goal, you know. And I think the impact you're having on other people can kind of show how successful you are too. You know, if you never go out there and compete, but you're helping all these other people achieve their goals, you're helping them compete, you're helping them get better, you're staying consistent. You know, that can be one of the hardest things to do in this sport is to keep at it, honestly. As you know, we all have bad days. We all have days when we want to quit or when we're like, why are we even doing this? And to keep pushing through that and come back and find your love for it again, that's successful. I think as a gym, it comes down to how your members are feeling about training with you guys in the first place, you know. And again, yeah, you can go out and you can win all the championships and you can compete all the time and have really, really great competitors, and that's awesome too. But if your people are miserable, you know, if they're not enjoying training with you guys, like, is that the kind of success that people are hoping to have? I think at our gym we do both. I think we have a lot of great competitors. We have you know, some really, really high level guys that do really well, but we also have a ton of hobbyists that come in and they get to enjoy it just as much as the people that are training for trials or anything like that, you know. And I think environment honestly is the biggest success point as far as I'm concerned. I think, you know, if you can get more people to want to come train, it doesn't matter if they're going out and winning gold medals. Like, that's where the success is, having a great training room. Everyone's comfortable, everyone's getting better because they want to come in again. I think for me personally, that's probably a symbol of success, is just growth, whether it's on an individual level or your entire gym overall.
Um, eh, I I asked that question because I'm always trying to figure out what's success for me. So I'm trying to, like, look at other people's homework.
Yeah.
It's like, all right,
You can copy my
that sounds
answers.
good.
That's fine.
That's good. I like that answer. Um, but no, like it does make, total sense. Just like, yeah, it is individual. You know, someone might say, "Hey, success for me is, competing on the local circuit
Hmm.
and winning, you know, go that the good fight or tap cancer out." Do they still do good fight? I haven't seen a post from them in a while. I need to.
Oh, they do good fight. We did a bunch of them last year. We
Okay.
got the big team trophy at one of them. I was really
Okay.
excited actually. Except they're
Nice.
always up your way. They're not out our way. We have to go out there.
I haven't seen one. And maybe it's just not crossed my algorithm. I don't know because
Yeah,
I
well,
used to see it all the time.
they're weird too because it's like you have to go to like their website. I bet if you go to their website right now, you'll start getting a bunch of Facebook ads for them.
Nice.
But
I'm gonna go check it out.
yeah, we did a bunch last year. We did like August and November and December. We had a whole bunch of people come out for our team and do it. But yeah, I know they're out in the like Maryland area usually.
Yeah, I remember my coach asking me to do a good fight years ago. He was like, that would be a good first competition for you because it's submission only, and I think you'll have a good time, you have a good experience. I was like, okay, maybe, but I was working Saturdays at the time, so I was like, maybe not. Like, it was a good thought though,
Yeah.
but yeah. But yeah, if like, your goal is like, hey, I want to go and just do submission only things like good fight, or go to well, my goal is to get to fight to win. Everyone's goal is different. I don't know. That's why I'm like, I don't know what my goal is. Like, I don't know. Not get wrist locked by the purple belts. That's all.
Hey, listen, you didn't get wrist locked twice by him.
Yeah, true. Well, I put up a post a few weeks ago basically saying this many days since last wrist lock. I think it was like 4 days or something. Now I have to take the fucking sign down and put up a new one because I got wrist locked today. Now I'm like, I don't know. My feelings were just really weird about it because it's like, hey, man, Like you're the nice guy in the gym, and you wrist locked me, and it's worse when it's a nice person because
Mm-hmm.
they were just nice. It's like you can't be mad at them. Like if it was like the mad enforcer or something, the wrist lock, he was like, okay, this guy's a jerk. I mean, like you don't need to enforce nothing today, dude. Like,
Yeah.
like we're all cool, but you wrist locking. But
Yeah, no, it's just, I mean, wrist locks are just demeaning, and then to come from a really nice person, yeah, that's double the hurt for sure.
yeah, I mean, it's like I remember the first time he wrist locked me. I didn't talk to him for 3 weeks. That was legit. He was like, "Hey Dante, what's up?" And I just walked up, and just keep it moving. I ain't got nothing to say to you today, homie. And he did it today. Now I'm not sure how to feel next week. It's like because I know no one's gonna pair up with him. Like everybody be scared. It's like I'm scared too. Trust me, I'm terrified of this dude. But I'll go out there. I'll get make sure he don't wrist lock me. I mean, and if he doesn't get the wrist lock, he just sweeps me and he gets tech mount and just sits on me and fish for fucking wrist locks. God, I'm so angry right now. All right, let's get away from that. All right, so Rochelle, thank
Mhm.
you for doing this. I really, really appreciate you making the time and just sharing your insights and experiences. I love to have you back on again and really like kind of talk more so about the side of like running the gym as well. That was part of my initial plan, but I was like, dude, I'm so scatterbrained. I actually just got back from training, came home, hopped in the shower, and just sat here in the basement and just looked at the wall for an hour. And it was like, oh shit, I need some questions. Hey, Chat GPT, what you got for me?
There we
Um,
go.
but someone was having like a weird conversation with their Chat GPT. I'm kind of like impressed because it was really creepy.
Yeah.
And her Chat GPT was talking about taking over the world with her, and I was like,
Uh-oh.
now I'm worried. So I'm gonna start messing with mine and ask them some provocative questions.
Well, if
Um,
they don't take over the world, I would love to be back on.
absolutely, we'd love to have you on. Before we get out of here, you got any shout outs or mentions that you'd like to drop for us?
Oh gosh. I mean, follow our Instagram, Sharkpit BJJ. We post memes every single day, and you've probably seen our memes shared by Dante. So thank you also for that. I mean, I don't know. We're a great gym. We're in Winchester, Virginia. If you guys ever want to stop by, we always love drop-ins. We got open mats twice a week too. And yeah, people are always welcome. Um, Shout out to my husband because he's the whole reason I am in the sport. So he's great, Will, and my son William Beast Boy BJJ is his Instagram. He is. I feel like he's going to be a big name pretty soon. So he's working on trying to get a spot at the 80cc Kids Worlds tournament. He's been working his butt off. He's 15, but he is a monster. So, Beast Boy BJJ, if you want to see some of his highlight reels and stuff on Instagram, he's down in Virginia Beach right now wrestling. So he just did 80cc last weekend and then immediately went to Virginia Beach this weekend. So he's a great kid, proud of him. But I feel like he's gonna be one of those names to watch out for soon. That's all I
Hey,
got.
I see the post and I'm like, this dude, he's on his way up. So
Yeah. Yeah, he's ridiculous. He's very obnoxious to roll with. Let me just let me just say that. He's nothing like getting beat up by a 15-year-old.
that was a role that I missed when I was visiting because you say, hey, roll with Will, like for you to roll with Will. And it's like, absolutely. I think the one time I did look over, he had already had someone he was paired up with. So I think,
Mhm.
some other, child beat me up pretty bad. I was just like, geez Louise, like
Yeah, I
even
was
the
gonna
kids
say
are beating me.
he was probably like a yellow or orange belt back then too. And I mean he went through his green belt real fast and now he's finally an adult blue belt. But I mean it's just still it's almost worse, I think, getting beat up with him with a blue belt on than a green belt because you know, blue belt can mean a lot. But green belt, that they've gone up in the ranks. So yeah, it's It's rough.
Well, I'll be sure to list his handle as well in the show notes and shout him out also. And yeah, we'll work on, you know, me getting back up there and visiting for another open mat because, like I said, I want to see the new place. And yeah, it's always nice to cross train and just, you know, see other gyms. I don't
Hmm.
normally compete, so it's like that's the only way I'm really going to get to kind of roll with other folks. Is like, hey, let me come through and visit. And it's like, okay, hey, that neon belly is a little aggressive. We're just playing. We're just playing. You don't need to put me through the floor, but it's fine. But yeah, we'll work on that. And as always, to the listeners, thank you so much. I appreciate you all. And this show doesn't work without you all as listeners. Oh, I mean, BJJ Wiki doesn't work without, you know, accounts like Sharkpit BJJ, run by Rochelle here. So thank you to everyone. If you have any questions or concerns or criticisms, always feel free to reach out. You can find me at bjj.wiki on Instagram or Off the Mats Podcast on Instagram. You can email me too. I been looking from time to time. I got one of the more recent guests emailed and it was like, oh shit. Even though he's local, he's been to the gym, but he emailed me. It was really weird. But whatever. It's fine. You could just stop by the gym. But yeah, just shoot me an email and you know, if you want to be on, let's talk. If you got some suggestions, send them over. If you're like, hey man, your audio is a little suspect, help. Please don't judge me. Just help me. Um, but otherwise, thank you, everyone. I want to give a big shout out to my crew over at Nerd Rage Radio. Bobby, Chris, Joe, Marilyn Phil, Ricky Tiki, Chucky O, Raul. Who else is there? Everyone. Y'all know. If y'all made it this far, y'all know the names probably better than I know the names because each week I say different names. So y'all probably know. He forgot so and so. I did because I don't remember. But if it weren't for Nerd Rage Radio, I wouldn't be doing podcasts. That's where I got my start with them. God, like what, 9 years ago, maybe 8 years ago? I don't even know how old my kid is. I think my kid's 7. So we'll say 9 years ago. Uh, if it weren't for them, I wouldn't be doing podcasts. So thank you to Nerd Rage Radio. I also want to give a shout out to my other podcast. So you like horror? If you like scary movies, go check that shit out, son. We just I just recorded with another Instagram mutual, Horror Chronicles, and we didn't do a theme, we didn't do a movie or anything. We just kind of had a horror discussion because she's really big on TikTok and she's got her own podcast now called the Hello Sydney podcast. So go check her out. But that was my most recent horror episode. So go check it out. It's funsies. We just talk about scary movies, and then we're gonna get back to the cursed films theme. The next one is going to be, I believe it's The Omen. Yes, because the new movie just released. So we're gonna do cursed films, The Omen, because there's some funky stuff that happened behind the scenes, and I do genuinely believe that movie was cursed. After reading all this stuff, I'm like, that shit was cursed. I'm scared. So go check it out. And last but not least, I want to give a big shout out over here to Miss Rochelle and Shark Pit BJJ out there in Virginia. Go check them out if you're in the area. Great people over there, just all around. I can say so from experience. You guys made me feel very welcome there, and I'm usually extremely awkward and uncomfortable, and I didn't feel that way with you all. So thank you so much, just for that, and you know, thanks for being my guest. Um, otherwise, thank you everyone again. I love you guys. You all keep listening. We're gonna keep making these shows. Thank you so much, everyone, and ciao.
Deeper with it. Now let me sing a song.